The term Tin Pan Alley has been used a few times already in this course to describe a form of music that was more urban, sophisticated, and sentimental than the country blues, and as an influence on early country performers. The name for this style of music indicates a specific place, 28th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues in New York City. This was where many of the songwriters for Broadway shows banged out their new tunes in practice rooms. Supposedly, the sound of all these songwriters working on pianos in such close proximity sounded like a bunch of tin pans, and the name Tin Pan Alley was adopted. The music publishing business developed in New York starting in the mid 1880s and grew from the production of sheet music to records. Tin Pan Alley songs developed as a common form that worked well for Broadway shows. Often, the tunes had verses to introduce the song into a particular show, but the refrain was general enough that it could be used in a variety of theatrical contexts. Some of America's greatest songwriters were Tin Pan Alley artists. Many of them were Jewish. By 1910, 1/4 of New York residents were Jewish, and they were immigrants who came from Eastern European countries to escape the anti-Semitism there. According to Starr and Waterman in American Popular Music, From Minstrelsy to MP3, the life stories of these performers suggest a couple of reasons for the high proportion of Jewish involvement in the entertainment industry. Lower-class immigrants, denied the possibility of upward mobility for centuries, poured their ambition into music, dance, and comedy, perfecting their skills on the streets of New York before gaining a foothold in vaudeville. And for the aspiring songwriters Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern, George Gershwin, and others, the music business offered a kind of rough and tumble justice. If you could write songs that made money for the music publishers, you were a success. Tin Pan Alley songs tended to speak to the middle-class American dream that was developing in new ways in the 20th century. The 19th century dream of owning land out west where anyone could make it with hard work and perseverance held promise for working-class immigrants in big cities at the turn of the 20th century, but these German, Irish, Italian, and Jewish groups dreamed not of moving out west, but away from the crowded tenement buildings in the inner cities to more spacious apartments and houses far from the bustle and noise of downtown. According to Starr and Waterman, middle-class aspirations were focused on the ownership of a home, the cozy parlor with its piano and mass-reproduced artworks, a center for family activities and for courtship, was a primary symbol of the homeowner's control over domestic space. This move toward privatization, which has culminated in the development of aural cloisters such as the CD player and the hermetically sealed automobile, is reflected in embryonic form in the content and style of popular songs of the 1920s and 1930s. Let's listen carefully to a range of songs written and performed in the Tin Pan Alley style. These songs have been selected for their popularity and to demonstrate some of the common themes and musical traits of Tin Pan Alley music. The first song we'll listen to is After the Ball. It was the first mega-hit pop song, selling over 5 million copies of sheet music. The huge success meant many others began trying their hand at the music business and song publishing. The song has a sentimental quality to it that's easy to detect, especially after listening to early blues and country performances. It's in a ballad form, and the story is pretty clear. We go through most of the song thinking the singer has been heartbroken by the girl that got away, but the last verse brings a surprise twist. Notice the absence of any sexual innuendo or edge. It's a straightforward tearjerker, but the feelings evoked offer more of a sentiment than genuine sadness. As you can see, the song is in a typical verse and chorus structure. The refrain takes on a variety of meanings as it follows each verse. After the Ball is one of the successful songs that led to many more like it. Another popular Tin Pan Alley song that ushered in the golden era of Tin Pan Alley was My Blue Heaven. Recorded in 1927, it was the best-selling song of its era and went unrivaled in record sales until 1942 with Bing Crosby's White Christmas. This recording is sung by Gene Austin, one of the first crooners. Crooning, if you recall from our presentation on race music, developed as an intimate singing style made possible by modern microphone technology. In this recording, we hear the middle-class American dream with its value on privacy and romance demonstrated. The song itself is about having a little space to call your own, a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom, where a little family of three can rest easy. Notice how Austin's crooning evokes the feeling of intimacy and coziness that the lyrics depict. Also, there are many clever sonic references to nesting birds to bring the point home. One of the greatest of the crooners was Bing Crosby. It sounds as if Crosby is singing directly to his lover in How Deep is the Ocean. The song is composed of a series of questions that all imply the answer, that his love for the listener is immeasurable. Crosby is a master at singing phrases before or after the beat for full effect. He also lingers on certain words to create interest and emphasize his feelings by making his voice waver. Notice the date on this song, 1932. This was a difficult time for many Americans, as it was during the Great Depression. Though many people faced economic hardships, Tin Pan Alley songs tended not to directly address the reality of the times. The songs were probably all the more popular because they offered escape from day-to-day difficulties. I think we can see a similar pattern in pop music of recent years, especially considering that America was involved in 2 wars in the first decade and a half of the 21st century. Yet, the most popular songs of our era have mostly been about love, sex, and individual dilemmas unrelated to problems of the outside world. One of the most popular Tin Pan Alley performers was not at all a crooner. Al Jolson belted songs out as he would on stage in a Broadway show. This video shows a performance of Jolson in 1949. Singing to a stadium full of people in Chicago. The song is April Showers, another popular and very typical Tin Pan Alley sentiment. Don't fret about rain and storms that might come your way, the song suggests. Focus on the pretty things and the positive side despite your troubles. Here is Al Jolson as a younger performer in the first talking picture in 1927. His acting style is not very cinematic. People thought of films at the time as merely visual recordings of theatrical productions, so you'll notice how he exaggerates facial features to play to an audience that's far away, rather than right in front of the screen. This segment from The Jazz Singer perfectly captures the American dream of the middle class in the 1920s and 1930s. Jolson's character is singing a jazzy number for his mother, who is supportive of his dream to be a musical star. Jolson tells his mother about all the things he's going to buy her when he's rich and famous. But his strict Jewish father is not impressed with Jolson's fanciful notions, and is especially against Jolson putting his musical talent to non-religious use. I Got Rhythm is an up-tempo Tin Pan Alley song following, like many of the others, a typical AABA form. In many Tin Pan Alley songs, the verses are not that important compared to the refrain, but here the first verse helps set up the huge impact of the refrain, making a big shift in energy from the drawn-out verses to an up-tempo refrain. This is a love song, but the main emphasis is on the love of music. Notice several false endings that go along with Ethel Merman's singing of the word more in Who Can Ask for Anything More? The joke is that she's so happy with the music and her man, she doesn't need anything more. Yet, at that very moment when it seems the song could come to an end, the band picks up again with more. Ethel Merman's theatrical singing is a blast of joy and energy as she hangs on to the word more with her voice at full volume. George and Ira Gershwin's I've Got Rhythm is one of the most popular Tin Pan Alley songs still today. The last Tin Pan Alley song we'll examine is Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein II's Old Man River. The song is from the musical Showboat, a musical that told the stories of workers and entertainers on a showboat on the Mississippi River. The show marked a shift on Broadway away from silly vaudeville entertainment and toward more serious matters. Showboat examined racial prejudice in America. As you watch Paul Robeson sing Old Man River, notice that the song references the mournful blues, but does not have the characteristics of early country blues. It lacks the kind of authenticity you might hear in the country blues or even early country music. This is socially conscious entertainment for mostly white middle-class audiences, so it is more sentimental than the blues, while evoking some of the blues style. I do want to point out the strangeness of Old Man River in the context of Tin Pan Alley Broadway musicals. Throughout Showboat, you can see evidence of Broadway's blackface minstrel show heritage in the stereotypes of black people. Though the show is meant to point out injustices, the black characters are cast in passive roles that African Americans in the Black Power movement will later criticize. Indeed, the singer in Old Man River seems resigned to his fate as a laborer who can't find meaning in his work, so he gets drunk on his off hours and then gets put in jail for his drunkenness. Yet there is a subversive quality to this song. Tin Pan Alley tunes typically were escapist entertainment supporting the fantasy of the American dream. If you work hard, you can make a better life for yourself, buy a home and raise a family in a nice quiet neighborhood. But Old Man River is a Tin Pan Alley song that raises questions about the American dream. Here is a man that works all day along the Mississippi River and gets nothing but pain and suffering for it. The singer of Old Man River dreams not of the working life along the Mississippi River that just keeps rolling along. He still dreams of the freedom and promise across the River Jordan. Though slavery is over, the black man is still a slave to an economic system benefiting the middle and upper class, while forgetting working men like him.